more strategic solutions that they don't have to go to other.
Yeah, so Akhil, would love to get a quick introduction from yourself first to learn more, a little bit about your background, where you're coming from before you co-founded Finmo,
Yeah.
and then what was that whole moment like, at least from your perspective. We'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Sure. So thanks for having me, Paulo. Basically, Finmo was born out of sheer frustration that a lot of smart finance teams are making slow and wrong decisions because the platforms that they are using, they're all fragmented. And they don't talk to each other. So I think this is something that we observed, and I observed during my stints working with corporate banking for the last 20 years. I spent my career building infrastructure products, mostly with MasterCard and Citibank. Basically, Treasury is a lot fragmented across spreadsheets, banks, and the ERPs. And a lot of banks are actually not connected to the ERP platform. So most of them do not have the full visibility of the P&L and the accounts, receivables, and the payables these finance teams are working with. So at the end of the day, most of these finance teams are actually left with data, but they can't utilize that data to make certain decisions. And once you make those decisions, you have to execute those decisions. So that's what we thought when we came about 4 years ago.
Right.
We thought, let's focus on data and then focus on how we can utilize that data to provide insights and then execute that. And I think with the advent of AI, the execution and the insights part has become relatively straightforward because at that point in time when we started, it was still something that we are figuring out how to work with that large amount of data and make something great out of it. So yeah, and then I also been advising fintechs and for the last few years.
Right.
I also saw that a lot of these startups were very, very focused on making revenues, but still in terms of scaling the financial operations, there was something still missing.
Right.
So I think that's the real reason we thought. However, when you get into treasury, and treasury is huge.
Yeah.
It's vast. So you have to start somewhere, and then you evolve as the needs evolve.
Yeah, so I guess that's why you started first with kind of like getting into those money movement,
Yes.
Kind of cross-border flows,
Exactly.
and then eventually from a modular kind of approach, adding more and more capabilities.
Yeah, I zoom a little bit into that. So typically, if you look at any company, whether it is an SMB or an enterprise, you have a CFO or a finance director who is basically looking after the risks and the overall cash across multiple entities, responsible for the entire, the cash flows across the entire organization. So they need to be aware of the various risks and how they can optimize those working capital across multiple entities. Now there could be cash pooling, notional pooling, and things that are involved. And the finance director is supposed to be making those decisions. Then the other leg is mostly on the financial controllership, where the financial controller is more responsible for day-to-day reconciliations, the settlements, and making sure that the books are in order.
Right.
And to keep it simple, more looking after the financial operations of the part of the business. And then you have the AR and AP teams who are actually responsible for making the payment for the invoices, fetching suppliers that they have to pay.
Introduce healthy cash flow.
Exactly, and paying out their suppliers and things like that. And then in the end, it's mostly around forecasting because, and then there are analysts.
Right.
So this is a classic setup of a finance company. Some of those roles could be overlapped, but if a finance function has to work properly, you at least have to have these roles defined into
Right.
that organization.
Yeah.
So when Finmo started, we thought our forte, as all the 3 co-founders and 4 co-founders that came about, we are more focused on accounts receivable, which is collections and payouts. So we started with that, but we knew that we are only addressing a small part of the bigger problem.
It's just one team within the
Exactly,
whole
which is
function.
AR AP. So, but if we need to solve the problem of how we can rather than retrospective reporting, how we can do more predictive analytics and reporting. If we need to do that, we have to have data, and then how we can leverage that data via AI is what we're working on.
Right. I really love that framework of how to think about product development from the finance function, how it's structured,
Yeah.
how the ideal function
Exactly.
should be operating.
Yeah.
Do you also see that similar kind of mindset in a lot of the finance teams or CFOs that you've talked to since you launched Finmo? Are they also on the same track?
No, I think yes, there are definitely a lot of market changes that have happened because of the AI coming in, and a lot of banks are also working with AI and fintechs to solve those problems for CFOs. So CFOs and teams, yes, their needs have evolved from what it was maybe a decade back.
Right.
A lot of CFOs, as they are growing and scaling, there is a big need of real-time visibility of data across all their entities and organizations. So that's one thing. With a lot of regulations also coming in, there is a tightening of a lot of compliance and audit controls that the CFOs are more focused on. The last part I mentioned about execution, which is I know that I have the decisions or the data, and I have made a decision that okay, I am probably not going to be sitting on certain currencies that are much riskier from a market standpoint. So how do I execute it? How do I make sure that even if I'm collecting in those certain currencies, the teams are empowered to know that we have to quickly convert it, and we probably don't sit on huge amounts of cash specifically in those currencies. So once you make those decisions, you have to execute those decisions. So I think they're looking for how those execution of decisions can be done.
Yeah.
And so this is what they have been looking at. And the other point was around the predictive analytics, forecasting, looking at the future, what kind of risks that I could be used to. And knowing these problems, we now then figure out, okay, our problem is, our platform is actually solving more on the collections and the payouts. And we are actually helping them moving the money. But if we need to give them the holistic solution or more strategic solution that they don't have to go to other ERP or a treasury or a bank, they should probably come to us. So if we need to do that, we have to solve all these problems that they are now facing in the current climate. The first and foremost thing is as I mentioned, the real-time nature of the data is what they are seeking. And for that, what we are doing is we are kind of evolving a product from just focusing on money movement to connecting with their banks.
Right.
So, and how do we connect with these banks? It's via APIs, host to host, multiple times during the day that we receive the feeds from banks who don't have enough tech. So that's how the product is evolving, and we are connecting their banks apart from what they're using Finmo for. That gives Finmo a lot more visibility in terms of their transactional flows, and also them, because we can actually give them better views of their cash flows across multiple organizations.
Yeah. Now, what I really like about your approach is that you're not just creating kind of like an all-in-one just for the sake of creating an all-in-one platform. There is that element of you want these the CFOs and the finance teams to be able to make decisions more clearly and execute on those decisions, as you mentioned, more efficiently as well. I wanted to touch on one aspect that you mentioned of creating that connectivity between banks and the many accounts that they have across the world, and really creating that connected intelligence sort of for Finmo. From a product perspective, like how has that journey been to try to, I guess, partner with all these different stakeholders, make sure they're all well integrated into the platform, and those who are using Finmo don't really have to leave Finmo to make sure the work's done.
Yeah. No, I like the word that you use, journey. It's actually a journey. So first of all, we have to prioritize the markets, and mostly it's based on our customers coming in and saying, hey, we are actually in these markets. So what we do is we prioritize our markets based on customer needs. Yes, there are definitely markets where they're using tier 2 banks and they lack kind of technical expertise in terms of getting the data. So what we do is, because we can do AR/AP well for our customers, we project And when we go to these banks, we talk to them about that, hey, we are helping these customers with money movement. And right now, the way they're doing right now is they get an invoice into an accounting platform, and then they come into your dashboard and then make the payment, and then they have to go and manually do the reconciliation.
It's a
So
lot of logging in, logging out.
yeah, exactly. So as a result, the whole process is quite slow. So they actually really see this as a problem, and because a lot of banks do want to connect to accounting platforms, but I think it could be a roadmap issue, or they are not too focused on. Hey, accounting is not my problem. My problem is to make sure that the money is kept, it's secured, and they earn interest on top of that, or I can set up liquidity management structures. So they are more focused in that area. If they start focusing on accounting, I think that's kind of a bit of distraction. So that's how we approach these banks. We explain to them the remit they're going to get with a bit of automation that we can do. And we really got decent discussions going around with a lot of tier 1 and tier 2 banks.
Right.
We have also worked with open banking companies and partners who, wherever the open banking frameworks are existing, which helps us to get a lot of data and statements from our customers. So that at least solves the cash visibility problem. But we are actually going to the next level, which is you can initiate payment from your connected bank. For payment initiation, you need either an API or you need a Swift file that you can drop, and there are multiple options. So what we need to do is we need to just make sure that we have those unified layer of supporting all the so it's called as standardization of all the options that could be available to our customers.
Right.
And it may not be applicable to them for every market, but at least the option is available, so that, and then we can tailor it for them as and when they come with a requirement.
Yeah, I think I find it interesting that you mentioned about in different markets, kind of like the kind of banking infrastructure that they're using could be very different.
Yeah.
And so you have to tailor kind of your approach to that.
Yeah.
And maybe as the markets evolve as well, you guys will also have to kind of evolve the connectivity. But quite interesting that you can literally, include the bank as part of the workflow from within Finmo already, and not have to log in and log out and do all that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we have been successful in a lot of cases, but what we try to do is we leverage on our expertise in terms of technology, where we can automate certain processes. At least what we do is we realize that these are certain things that we can do with even utilization of AI, or even just automated workflows, like a scheduler or something that can automate, because these are things that they're doing every day.
It's running 24/7.
Exactly. And then, so those workflows can be automated quite easily, and then we just do it because we can. So the way we approach our customers is that we are not just offering you a product. We are coming with more of a consultative selling as to, we look at your processes and we see where we can help you improve your current processes, and where you can automate the process. It's more of how we can help you transform into thinking more about growth, rather than just fixing the pipes.
Doing all the busy work.
Exactly.
And speaking of automation and AI, I think one of the, features or products that you guys have released in the last few months is Mo AI. Obviously, you're plugging in AI into various different aspects of the product, but Mo AI in particular, I wanted you to discuss that. How did you guys decide to launch this kind of co-pilot for finance teams?
So we have been actually using a lot of machine learning and AI techniques. So I think first and foremost is more around predictive analytics. We use time series methods for forecasting as well, whole winter mostly, and a lot of simulations for FX and calculating all the currency risks that the customers are sitting on. So these models are actually helping you with the data. They look at your past data, and the data could be for a specific period, so it's called seasons. So we look at pattern recognition, we do pattern detection and anomaly detection and seasonality. So based on that, then we make a model, and then that's what we use to forecast the cash flows, basically. But apart from that, yes, we are leveraging a lot of AI. We're using MCP and ChatGPT and Cloud
Yeah.
to basically help automate a lot of flows for our
Right,
customers. The way we are going with Mo AI is that it's your co-pilot, it's your financial advisor. So it should be looked at as a silent listener looking at your transactions. We have fed in specific instructions, and those instructions are triggered dependent on your usage. So if you do plenty of FX, the FX agent will be active and it will be looking at a lot more market risks. It connects with a lot of external providers who are looking at currency fluctuations and giving more educated and informed decisions, not decisions, but more
Insights
insights
yeah.
and analytics to our CFOs. Um, if you're doing a lot of payouts or you're receiving plenty of invoices from your customers and specific vendors are delaying on invoices, so the ARAP agent basically picks up and tells the finance teams that, hey, you have uh, you have delays and this is your aging report and things like that. So the way we are going with this is that these things are actually done by analyst teams and they are more retrospective, like things have happened, let's go and check.
Right.
And then you figure out uh, how we can improve in the next one, right? Or maybe it's too late and we have to take it a loss and things like that.
Right.
But with AI and with this the AI agents that we have been launching, um, it basically does a lot of preemptive and
Like less of a learning curve, so to speak. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it takes a while. Right now, what we have launched is more of a you ask more, and then you write in your query, and it does a lot of analytics and stuff for you, and it gives you. So, what are my top 3 vendors who pay me on time? Right.
Yeah.
Show me all the payouts that have been
More of a
failed.
conversational interaction with
Exactly.
the platform.
So this is, but this
interface
is the,
rather.
but
Yeah.
this is the team asking questions
That's
and
right.
solving a lot of analytical stuff that they have to do in Excel.
Yeah.
However, the way we are going with this is you don't have to ask. Depending on how you are utilizing Finmo platform, it will detect and then start looking at those priorities first.
Kind of reducing the human in the loop kind of
Exactly.
kind of workflow when it comes to I guess like interacting with the AI. And it's not just one agent. It's eventually it's gonna be like a whole stack of agents. You mentioned the FX agent,
exactly. So
ARAP agent.
So that's agentic commerce, and you have these agents with system-defined prompts, and they look at those, crawl the data, and then they start looking at it, and that's pattern detection that they look at. And then the most important piece is the agents talking to the agents, right? So I think that's where we are working a lot more, launching a lot more features.
I think that's the exciting part because
It's quite exciting.
once that happens, you don't need to. I guess everything runs already in the background.
Absolutely.
It does the work for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think for us, that's the key. As I mentioned, the 4 problems that I highlighted initially.
Yeah.
And the predictive nature is that's what the CFOs are looking for.
Yeah. And then going back to day one of Finmo, like how does all these different developments, connectivity with banks, the agentic AI, how does that tie back to that initial, that vision to really build like a treasury, a powerful treasury, a treasury management kind of system for finance?
Yeah, I mean,
teams?
look, as I said when we started, we know that there are treasury teams are all fragmented across multiple platforms. So we knew that it's a lot of development that we have to do, and so we had to figure out a plan. Now the thing is, you have a lot of in your head, but and easier said than done. But it's more around like, how can you do this without boiling the ocean, right? That's the most important part, because you could easily do. A customer comes in and you could easily get distracted, right? Because treasury is huge, and one particular segment says, "Hey, I want to do this," and there's plenty of revenue, but you may digress from your real mission. So for us, it's more around sticking to the real problems that and it could be top 3 or 4 that I highlighted that how CFOs evolve.
Yeah.
I think sticking to those problems is what was key, and then we work towards it. But important thing was with we had to work with several partners in between to make those decisions. So we have to do a lot of we have to hire a lot of teams within the network side of things who can work with these banks specifically, and that's one stream that's constantly talking to the banks and explaining them what we are trying to do. A lot of them think of us as a pure accounting platform, but they see that we are also doing moving the money and things like that. So which and we have licenses, so
Yeah.
that gives a lot of trust, because licenses don't come easy. So so it definitely adds a lot of trust into those banks. And I think as you mentioned, it's a more of a journey. We have to keep working on building that network,
Right.
because the AI piece and the automated workflows, which is actually solving the decisions or executing the decisions that the CFOs have taken, can only be done if you have enough amount of data. And the data only comes from when you connect with the ERP platforms, when you connect with your banks, and then unless until you have the full gamut of your P&L, we won't be able to make any
Or it won't be
decision.
accurate, at
Exactly.
least, yeah.
So I would say 60 to 70% of our time is spent more on getting those partnerships and those partnerships sorted.
Right, yeah. And actually, as of this recording, I think there's a recent partnership that's announced with Standard Chartered.
Chartered,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
congratulations to that one,
Thank you.
another one
Thank you so much.
in the network.
Yeah.
And I'm sure more to come. As you said, it's a journey.
Yes,
I wanted to talk a little bit about how, how all these developments are helping Finmo differentiate itself more and more in the market. And obviously, as more people are trying to plug into this whole cross-border finance kind of industry, payment flows, and all of that, like how are these developments helping in terms of creating that mode? Obviously, you have the licenses,
Yeah.
but I guess from a product perspective also.
Yeah, I mean, for like our philosophy is quite simple. We want to solve invisible problems, um, for CFOs and for finance teams. We want to design it so that it's they feel more powerful rather than being more overwhelmed. So that's our product philosophy. If it is too complex, it's too difficult, right? Because a lot of sophisticated customers may understand, like, hey, what's Monte Carlo simulation? Do you do Monte Carlo simulation? But it's very few get into that level of detail, which is a simulation that's used to understand your currency risks.
Right.
That's for sophisticated ones. But then if you are targeting mostly the middle segment, they basically are looking at, I want to just solve my AR/AP. So to answer your question about differentiation, I think we're trying to address all the problems that a CFO is facing today in a more strategic fashion, right? Because to solve the entire problem, it cannot be done by one platform. They have to go to multiple. And I think that's what differentiates us, because we're trying to help them connect and then help them control, which is your AR/AP piece and invoicing and things like that. Command, which is more around, hey, let's get a command over our cash flows, analytics, and
Decision-making power,
make decisions out there, and then create. So create
Execution.
creative for growth. Exactly. So I think the 4 C's covers it quite well, and that's the biggest differentiating factor, I think.
I think in the video we might display the 4 C's, just so everybody gets a quick overview. And I think it's a powerful kind of heuristic to keep you guys grounded in terms of like the product direction.
And I think it helps us to explain, because Treasury is sophisticated. A lot of people don't think just Treasury is cash management or just doing money movement, making payments for invoices and receiving money. So it's much beyond that. And as I said, our platform fits in a small business who are living on month, and so all they care is, I want to make sure that I don't default on payments, or if I'm supposed to be receiving money, at least I go and reach on time, because I'm living on month. And so, and also sophisticated ones who need a lot more predictive stuff. So I think that's kind of sums it well. It's not only for small businesses, middle, and if you want, I think enterprise segment is served well with a lot of TMSs, and I think we kind of playing between between the enterprise and the middle segment.
Right.
I think that's where we are operating right now.
Yeah, and I think making it easier, I guess, because traditionally, I guess most TMSs have been engineered for the larger kind of like enterprise and organizations, and so
Right.
making that kind of functionality more accessible to more businesses
Exactly.
is important for you guys.
Absolutely.
And speaking of, we touched on it earlier of operating in different markets, having to tailor fit kind of depending on what the banking landscape or the banking infrastructure is. How does, I guess, regulation, the kind of licenses that you have impact you as a CPO and kind of the product considerations that you have to make or delivery for specific markets?
Yeah, so we have to be, if you're working with the banks, first and foremost is about your data, how you're protecting your data. So what sort of controls that you have in place. So we are a compliance first organization.
Right.
So like we when we came up together, it's the product, the compliance, and the partnerships coming together.
Yeah.
So which is a solid foundation of any fintech business.
The
basically.
fintech Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. Avengers. Exactly. I mean, we knew that if we need to do this well, we have to be thinking compliance first, which is why day one we have been thinking through like what are the key things that we should have in day one. So it's like whether it's KYB, whether it's AML screening, whether it's security concerns. We made sure that all of them are there day one when we reach out to the banks and say, hey, we are not only collecting money on behalf of our customers, we are settling it, but we are also giving them visibility. And so there is a tech angle to it, which is what the insights and the more is about.
Right.
But then there is a bigger responsibility, which is dealing with customer money. And so the great thing is that we have got the right certifications in place. We are ISO 27001, we are PCI, and even SOC 2. So from data protection standpoint, we made sure that every market that we go to, we are rock solid in those areas.
Yeah.
The other considerations are around standardization, because as you scale, and basically it's mostly from my previous life,
Right.
working with some larger organizations, I kind of got a lot of exposure on infrastructure build, which focuses on reliability, compliance, and scalability. So I think that actually helped me a lot, and to work with CTO Raj to make sure that these are implemented before we go any further, and going out to the banks. And also, like my time, I also spent some time at Rapid, which is also a huge fintech. That helped me to learn a lot around how developer friendly, how to be developer friendly, have a unified integration, having a more partner mindset to do channel partnerships and things like that. So I think with those DNA, I mean, again, sounds easier than done, but
Right.
it's plenty of work. It's plenty of
Sure.
and it's a lot of moving parts. Not all of them move together as you expected. So
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of considerations as you scale.
Right. And just to wrap up our conversation, I wanted to ask, like, how do you see the future of Treasury? I mean, obviously, there's the AI piece. I mean, we're here at Singapore Fintech Festival, and a lot of people are also talking about the stablecoin piece as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emerging technologies and new ways of thinking about Treasury.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see this moving in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I think, so I'm not just saying because there's a buzzword,
Sure,
but
yeah.
we have been talking about stable coins for quite some time, and how stable coins can be a part of real treasury. And I think a lot of companies that we have been talking to are already thinking in that direction. And I would say, as a fintech, agility is the top thing that we work with. Not doing whatever is coming your way. It's more around how you fit it within your overall strategy. So I believe with a lot of regulations and the Genius Act coming in, a lot of regulators and banks working on CBDCs, I believe that a lot of cross-border flows will be happening with using stable coins and the blockchain technology. We are already seeing that happening, and actually, what has happened is it has reduced the, the amount of time and the cost
Right.
in moving those money. So
Yeah.
when you see those value add, I think definitely everyone wants to go for it.
Yeah.
So I believe that's where we are headed as well, to bring those technologies within our platform too.
And just to bring up a concept that you've been, I think, like mentioning throughout our conversation, this whole idea of standardization, and I think like in the next few years, definitely you guys will be spearheading that standardization of technology, how it's used in the treasury function, the finance function. So excited to share more in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe have another chat with you in the next
sure.
milestone for
Looking
Finmo,
forward to it.
and then maybe meet the other Avengers in the in the founding team.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, thank you so much,
Thank you so much,
Akhil,
Paulo.
for joining
Yeah,
me.
thank you.
Right, thank you.